Decades of research tells us that trauma experienced by kids can have an impact on how they develop and grow. It also shows us that over time, even smaller traumas can have a big impact.
She was Gaga because she really wanted to be Grammy.
Allison Brigham has a lot of good memories of her grandmother, the woman who helped raise her.
A big thing that we liked to do together was cook.
2 years ago, when Brigham was a sophomore in high school, her grandmother passed away unexpectedly.
And was like, so Gaga passed away this morning and we're gonna go over there. And I was like, oh, okay.
Now a senior, Brigham says she has only recently started understanding her grief.
There's a lot more people in the community than I thought that are going through similar things. So it's made me feel a lot less alone.
Brigham says she doesn't consider the death of her grandmother a trauma. But years of brain research shows children who experience events like the death of a close family member are experiencing trauma. Some schools are looking at behavior and academic growth as part of the ways some children and teens cope with difficult life experiences.
Any of those students find a home here.
This is Elkhart Academy. It's the alternative high school where 9th through 12th graders can go if they're struggling in a traditional school setting. Some of the kids here need extra academic help. They might be young parents or have to work to support their families. Maybe they've shown a pattern of destructive behavior or they're dealing with mental health issues.
These students oftentimes have experienced trauma or are currently experiencing trauma in a way that has impacted their ability to be successful at school. So we know this. The question is, what do we do about it?
Principal Brian Hammontree says their approach is understanding that a student's behavior is communication.
We know that trauma impacts the brain, so how do we build those skills and meet those needs that trauma has created? And that's through building resilience. The only way to do that is by forming relationships based on trust with the students.
Within Elkhart Community Schools, there are social workers in each building, and teachers and staff have been trained in recognizing who might be dealing with trauma and how to respond.
And for us, what might seem little might be big for somebody else.
Social worker Jamie Bontrager says trauma and the way a person processes it is different for everyone. This can make it difficult for others to understand.
Little things like a car accident that you might not necessarily think, but that causes trauma of, nightmares or things like that that cause a disruption, that are all trauma that play into and impact how a student comes to school the next day and how they're able to focus and learn.
It's why school leaders here and at many schools in our area are putting systems in place to help students process their emotions.
My biggest goal for everybody is to meet them where they're at.
Leaders say their job is to not only help students graduate high school, but also build trust and resiliency.
Yes, the students are going to eventually have to meet the expectations and all the graduation requirements, but we can help put them in a position to be successful by teaching them how to regulate their brain.
My theater teacher, she was the most helpful through all of it.
Brigham doesn't live in Elkhart or attend school there, but for her, grief help came in the form of a teacher.
She just gave me space to talk about my grandma.
And recently, a counselor connected her with Dustin's Place, which helps kids grieving the loss of a family member.
This last time we talked about how grief is a lot like a garden.
Because when children and teens understand themselves, they'll grow into healthier adults. Go to our website for more information and links about how to identify children who are struggling and how to help. And on Wednesday, what the most recent statewide numbers are telling us about how difficult childhood experiences are impacting local families and children. In the studio, Kristen Bean, WSBT 22 News.